Rahasya session 8, where we would like to welcome our Facebook Live and YouTube Live listeners, as well as the Zoom listeners. Thank you for joining today. We would be starting with chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. We welcome all of our Facebook Live listeners, our YouTube Live listeners, and our listeners over Zoom. Thank you all so much for joining in. So today we will be covering 4 chapters. So out of the 4 chapters that we'll be doing is 14, 15, 16, and 17. So without further ado, we will now start chapter 14, which is entitled The Modes of Material Nature. So we left chapter 13 at a place where it explained how the living entity, the Purusha, is entangled in the external energy, which is Prakriti, due to its desire for enjoyment. And chapter 14 explains how material energy binds the soul in through the 3 modes of material nature, as indicated in 13.22. The roots of chapter 14, which is entitled The 3 Modes of Material Nature, is in chapter 13, verse 22, where it talks about the modes of nature, and then this will be now expanded in chapter 14. The key verse that's connecting chapter 13 and chapter 14 is the verse 22 of chapter 13. Now, the breakdown has 5 sections in it. Can we have the PPT, please? So the 5 sections that are there is from, the first section is from text 1 to text 4, where Krishna is talking about the liberation and the conditioning of the living entities. So Krishna glorifies the knowledge that he will be speaking. What he will be speaking in this chapter, Krishna first glorifies that. And then Krishna says that by him, the Supreme Lord, the material energy is impregnated with living entities. So Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita, that I am the one who is the seed giving father. So this is what is discussed in the first section. In section 2,
Section 2 is from verse 5th to verse 9th, which tells even though the soul is so pure, it is the part and parcel of Krishna, it is something which Krishna is the seed giving father of, but it gets bound by the modes. How this soul, which is eternal, is bound by these temporary modes through the conditioning, through the mode of goodness. He's bound to the happiness. Through the mode of passion, the soul is bound to fruitive activities, and through ignorance, it's bound to madness and illusion.
and then section 3, from text 10 to text 13, talks about recognizing a particular mode's, supremacy. So the modes basically compete with one another for supremacy within an individual. Like, for example, Srila Radhanath Swami Guru Maharaj, he was giving us an example. He said that every one of us has, a good dog and a bad dog in us. So the good dog, is also barking, but the bad dog is also barking. And it is up to us which dog we feed so that their barking gets louder. If we feed, the lower modes, then the bad dog, which, is signified by lust, greed, envy, illusion, all of these negative emotions, they get strong in us and they start barking, they start howling. And the good dog is like, hardly being heard because it's not being fed. So therefore, Krishna here in this section, he talks about how there is a constant competition. You see, we can never say that a person is only in the mode of goodness or this person is just very, ignorant. No, one person always has a mixture of the three modes. It's always a mixture, but there is competition for which is going to strive, which is going to come up in a person more and more and more. So we learn the technique of how we can choose to act in a particular mode and which mode is going to have supremacy over the other. So Krishna explains how the manifestation from the mode of goodness, which is signified by knowledge, the manifestation from the mode of passion is signified by attachment, uncontrollable desires, intense endeavor. All this is mode of passion, and ignorance is inactivity and madness. Which brings us to section 4.
Which is from text 14 to text 18, talks how we act and die within the modes. Because it's really amazing how the soul, which is superior than this, which is the superior energy, superior than the material external energy, is still controlled by this external energy. One time, Srila Prabhupada gave an example that how a small boat is able to pull a big ship. When the big ship's rudders go bad, then the small boat comes and it pulls, and the big ship, once it has the momentum, it's actually easily able to take it away. Similarly, when the elephant is bound by the ropes, and that rope is tied to a small wooden plank, which is in the ground. Now, if the elephant wants, it can just use its force and pull the small little wooden plank out of the ground, and just it's free. But it never does that. You know why? Because it's conditioned. Because from the childhood, when the elephant was a baby elephant, the baby elephant was tied using that small wooden plank dug inside the ground, and it's the rope is tied to the wooden plank and tied to the elephant. And when it was baby elephant, it tried a lot and it didn't work. And then he tried and tried and tried. And then the baby elephant gives up. Oh, I can never be freed from this. when he grows and increases in strength, even though the elephant now can pull it, but it has already in its mind given up the fact that I can ever be freed from this small plank. That's what happens to the soul. Even though the soul is capable of getting out of this modes of material nature, we just give up and we just say, I'm just bound to this material world, bound to these three modes. What can I do? Because we are conditioned. This is the power of conditioning.
Which brings us to section 5, where Krishna talks about transcending the modes. In this section, from text 19 to text 27, Krishna describes that how one can transcend all the modes by knowing the 2 points. Knowing 2 points, we can transcend the modes. What are the 2 points? Very, very important. Please listen carefully. The first point is all within this world takes place under the modes, which means that we are aware of this knowledge. It is said, even by medical history, it is said that medical science says that once we just know what disease is affecting us, that is solving 80% of the problem. But sometimes doctors are not able to figure out what is the disease that somebody is affected by. So they don't know what precautions to give, what medicines to give. So similarly, Krishna is saying, therefore, the first thing to know in order to transcend the modes is to understand and accept the fact that everything in this world is taking place under the modes of material nature. The second point is Krishna's activities are transcendental to the modes. So these are the 2 points. So Krishna explains that one can transcend the modes by engaging in unfailingly in devotional service. If we do that, then we can immediately overcome and transcend the 3 modes of material nature. And one will then come to the platform of Brahman, of which Krishna is the source.
We actually get bound in these modes of nature as creatures of habit. One time there was a football team and this or soccer team. The soccer team had wanted to. They had a match the very next day, and the previous day, their goalkeeper got injured. The goalkeeper told the captain, "You know what? I really cannot play tomorrow. I'm just injured. I'm sorry. I cannot play tomorrow." The captain, the vice captain, they are in lot of worry. They're worried. What will happen? So anyway, they went to the flea market and they go and the farmers market, for example, and there they are looking for some groceries for the evening dinner. And as they are passing by, they saw a scene. There was a watermelon stall, and this watermelon stall was being set up right then, and there was a person inside a van full of watermelons, and that person in the van was picking up the watermelons and throwing to a person who was on the stall. He would just hold the watermelon, catch the watermelon, and then put it on the stall. Catch it, put it, catch it, put it. And these watermelons were big watermelons that were being thrown, and at different paces, at different places. He would dive sometime on this end and come and put it. He would stretch himself on another end, hold and catch the watermelon and put it on the stall. And seeing this, the captain, vice captain, they looked at each other. Could we have found our goalkeeper? Look at the way he dives and he catches these big watermelons. Football would be, or the ball would be a piece of cake, a piece of watermelon for him. And so they went and approached this person in the stall and said, "You know what? We are going to pay you this such and such amount. We want you as our goalkeeper. Our goalkeeper is injured. Can you help us?" I said, "All right. What time is it?" And told the time. "Yeah, I think I'll be available. I'll come there." So then the next day, it was ready. The captain, vice captain were very happy. They have their goalkeeper, and maybe better than the previous goalkeeper. The way they saw him catching all these watermelons. And then the game began. And as it began, the ball started rolling from one team member to another, and then it went to the other team's place, and they started playing soccer. And the other team came near the goalkeeper of this team who was hired just recently, and the team kicked, and the goalkeeper dove. He dove, and he right at the edge of the goal post, he caught the ball, and then he put it inside the goal. The captain, vice captain, they were surprised. What did he just do? He caught the ball successfully, and then he made a self goal. And then they realized something. They realized the power of habit. He always, in the watermelon stall, he would catch and put it on the stall. Catch the watermelon, put it on the stall. And this time, also, when he got the ball, he caught the ball nicely, but he put it in the goalpost. So this shows the power of habit. The way, whatever our thoughts are, these thoughts generate actions or words. These words generate actions, and repeated actions generate habits. These habits create character. That's how the modes of nature affect us if we allow them to. So the message of this particular chapter is we should not allow the modes of nature to overpower the soul's free will. But if we surrender to Krishna, we'll be able to overpower the modes of material nature. We go to the next slide, please.
In this chapter, there are 3 important verses from 14th chapter. So we'll go through the 3 important verses. This is 14.4. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
So it is based on goodness, passion, and ignorance. In goodness, although we are bound by the sense of happiness, there is no impetus to take up the spiritual life. Why? Because we are so happy and satisfied to do what Krishna says. In the mode of goodness, it is very hard to be humble. Why? Because we have a sense of superiority, that I'm better than others. I don't engage in sinful activities or passionate activities. I'm happier than others. And it's hard to learn. Why? Because mode of goodness, they already have some knowledge, and they're proud of that knowledge. Some people are proud of even being humble. And sometimes people in mode of goodness fall into that trap. Mode of passion, it's difficult to give up the mode of passion because they can't give up the fruits of their activities. They cannot give up the results of their activities. They're too attached to the results of their activities, not the process in which they're performing that activity. Why? Because they want to fulfill all their unlimited desires. So they become very attached, and they're willing to commit sin to fulfill these desires. And therefore, they cannot take bhakti out of determination. And then mode of ignorance, these people are too deluded to recognize Krishna's instructions, and they're too lazy to perform austerities. They may be able to recognize Krishna's instructions in some way or the other, but then they don't want to implement it. But passion and ignorance, sometimes it seems there is less difference, but there are many differences between passion and ignorance.
Okay, so we move to the next verse, please. Next slide.
Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Text 27.
Next one, please.
Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya cha. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Here, Krishna explains how the personal form of the Lord is the source of the impersonal Brahman. For God to be complete, he has to have a personal form, he has to have an impersonal aspect as well. We cannot deny the impersonal aspect, but the source of the impersonal aspect is the person Krishna. The effulgence that's coming out of him is the Brahman, as is explained in Sri Ishopanishad. And the Mayavadis, there are some Brahmavadis who understand that yes, Brahman, I'm attached to Brahman, but Brahman is lower than the personal aspect Bhagavan. But Mayavadis, they they actually are offensive because they think that Brahman is the source of Bhagavan and Bhagavan is just a temporary manifestation. But Vaishnavas understand that the Brahm, as Krishna explains here, Krishna is the source of the Brahman, and both are eternal. Okay, that brings us to chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Now, chapter 14, at the end of chapter 14, Krishna describes that how does one transcend devotion, the modes of nature? By performing devotional service. But to attain that devotion, one needs detachment from the material world simultaneously as well. So, Krishna is saying, yes, you want to get rid of material nature, not only engage in devotional service, but you have to detach from material nature also. Therefore, he begins chapter 15 by explaining the need for detachment, how much we need to be detached. He gives a metaphor that he compares the material world to a ashwatha, a banyan tree. And then after that, Krishna describes the Purushottam Yoga from 6 to 20. It's a very small chapter. In fact, the uh, Purushottam month, which is coming up, it is recommended that we recite this chapter 15 every day, just 20 verses. Wonderful chapter. So it has breakdown in 5 sections. Next slide, please.
So the first section from text 1 to text 5, Krishna is talking about how can we become detached from the material world. So Krishna explains that one should detach himself from the material world. Yes, very good. And Krishna also says that material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, but a perverted one. Krishna gives the example of the banyan tree, that how the banyan tree is if it's on the shore of a lake, then the reflection falling on the lake is on the land, the banyan tree has its roots downwards and the branches upwards, but in the reflection the branches are downwards and the root is upwards. So Krishna says that the material world is actually a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So one should surrender to Krishna and attain to the spiritual world. That's the only way we can attain to the spiritual world. And also how we can actually detach ourselves while we are in this world, how to not be of this world. Krishna gives us that technique in this Purushottam Yoga. So just like a coconut, Prabhupada gives a very beautiful analogy. He says that when the coconut is fresh, then the flesh of the coconut, the white portion, is attached to the brown shell. But when the coconut dries up, then when you shake the coconut, then you hear the cut sound. Why? Because the shell is now detached from the flesh. It has become hollow. So that is how, even while staying in this world, we are not of this world. So this is the beauty of the transition that Krishna explains in this chapter.
And we go to next section. Section 6, text 6 to text 11 talks about transmigration. How our goal should be to leave this material world, return to the spiritual world. And then Krishna gives this wonderful instruction. You are my part and parcel. All the living entities are my part and parcel. Yet they struggle from body to body in search of pleasure. If they just knew that we belong to Krishna, that we are Krishna's part and parcel, this is proof that we are Krishna's, we belong to Krishna, we would be completely surrendered. So those who are devotees, transcendentalists, they can see this clearly. The blind materialists, they cannot see it.
Then section 3, from text 12 to text 15, Krishna is talking about, his own position as the maintainer. That how we must, every living entity must be attracted to Krishna by knowing his position, his supreme position as the maintainer on both the cosmic as well as the personal level. Krishna is the maintainer of the entire creation, the cosmic universe, but he's also taking care of us personally. And then Krishna is also the compiler of the Vedanta and the knower of the Vedas also. Vedascha sarver ahameva vedya. So this is what Krishna says in this particular section.
Then text 16 to 18, these three shlokas, they tell the knowledge. This is like a summary of the Vedas and the Vedanta. It tells about how conditioned souls are fallible. We can fall. Living entities, those who are one with the Lord in desire, they are infallible. If we connect ourselves to the root of the tree, we will never fall down. But beyond both of these fallible and infallible living entities, there is the Supreme Person, the Super Soul, who maintains all these three worlds, and Krishna is that Supreme Soul. Then we go to section 5, which is just the last two verses, 19 and 20, that once we understand Krishna, there is nothing else that remains to be known, because if we know Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality, then we engage in his service, and once we know this confidential knowledge, then it makes us wise and brings us perfection in all our endeavors, because we are offering everything to the Lord.
One time Prabhu was telling me this joke that he had a wonderful friend in his university, and once Prabhu was studying the Bhagavad Gita in his university, and this friend comes by and he says, "Oh, you're studying the Bhagavad Gita? I've studied all the Vedas. I've studied all the Vedas." So then Prabhu said, "Oh, wow. You've studied all the Vedas. So what is your conclusion?" So what did your friend say?
My conclusion is God does not exist.
So if that is the conclusion, then that person has not even read the 15th chapter of the Gita. But Krishna himself is declaring, Vedescha sarvera hameva vedya, that I am the knower and the final objective of the Vedas. So we go to the next slide. This is first verse. There are 5 important verses in this particular chapter. As you can see in this slide, this is the perverted reflection of the material world. The world is, the perverted reflection of this material world. So this is what we see here in this slide. Can we go to the next slide, please?
This one.
Sorry, yeah, 15.1.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Urdhvamulam Shakam Ashvatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit.
The blessed Lord said, there is a banyan tree which has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns, and one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Basically, it's saying that we are actually looking for happiness in the reflection. Let's not look for happiness in the reflection of the fruit that is on the tree. The fruit is actually, real fruit is on the tree. But if we look at the reflection of it in the lake, next to the tree, adjacent to the tree. Then we dive inside the water. There's the fruit, and we dive in there, and then we find there is no fruit because the real fruit is up. So we try to find happiness in this material world, and we cannot find this. But this material world is told that this is the um, banyan tree because there is no end to the banyan tree because it's very, very deep rooted. And why we should understand this tree of illusion is because one who understands this tree of illusion, Krishna says, we can cut it by the sword of detachment and understand that it is so deep, so intricate, that to detach from this material activities is not very easy. We need to execute devotional service also. Here, this particular verse also refutes impersonalism. Srila Prabhupada, every time in his purport, says everything against impersonalism and against materialism. And he says because it's a upside down tree, this indicates that there is a real tree in the spiritual world. So the Brahman is not everything. There is a real thing in the spiritual world as well. Um, so this is the understanding of this banyan tree. Text
Next
5.
slide, please. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukha samye gachanti amudha padamavyayam tat. One who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust, and is freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and one who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, attains to the eternal kingdom.
Next verse. Natad bhashayate suryo
न शशाङ्को न पावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
That abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or the moon or nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. This is Krishna's promise.
So there was once a very funny story. Devotees go out distributing books. So one time there was a devotee who was distributing books on the street, and he was actually distributing this Bhagavad Gita. And he thought that he could get people intrigued to buy the Gita if he shows them this particular verse, which is chapter 15, text 6. So he read the translation to one person. He said, look, why do we have to suffer here in this material world? We can go to this beautiful spiritual world where there is no suffering. But that person, he read, that abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or the moon nor by electricity. Ha! Why would I want to go to such a place where there's no electricity, there is no sun, no moon? It's a dark place. Why would I want to go there? So, but here, that's why we need Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports, illuminating Bhaktivedanta purports. That in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, this abode is not needed. The sun and the moon, why is it needed? Why do we need electricity? To dissipate the darkness. But the spiritual world, there is never a dark time. There's no darkness. It is illumined by the potency of Krishna's transcendental bodily effulgence. It is so bright, so illumined. And there is no scarcity of activities. There's no scarcity of fun. It's unlimited fun. So then when the book distributor explained, then the person said, okay, fine, I'll take the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so next slide, please. Mamaevansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind.
Next slide, please. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known, and indeed I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
It is said that a black ant in a dark night, a baby ant, baby black ant in a dark night on a black rock, no one sees, but the super soul sees. Krishna sees. This because Krishna is seated in everyone's heart.
So Krishna knows everything. Nothing is escaping from the vision of Krishna. Next slide, please. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharat. So in this regard, there's a very beautiful story. Um, so this story talks about a Brahmana and a cobbler. So there was once a very, this Brahmana and the cobbler, both of them were very, very good devotees, very, devoted to Krishna. So one time Narad Muni came to both of their homes and he told that I'm going to Vaikuntha. Any message for the Lord? So then the Brahmana said, yes, Narad Muni, please ask the Lord, when will I return back home, back to Godhead? Narad said, okay, I will ask, no problem. He came to the cobbler. He said, my dear cobbler, I'm going to Vaikuntha to see the Lord. Is there any message that you want from the Lord, for the Lord? The cobbler said, yes, Narad Muni, I have one question, that please ask the Lord, when will that day come that I will be able to see the Lord? Narad Muni said, okay, both of you have like the same question. I will definitely ask the Lord. And he went to Vaikuntha. And Narad Muni had a beautiful time with the Lord in Vaikuntha. And when he was leaving, he remembered. Narada remembered, oh, the cobbler and the Brahmana, they asked me this question. So he said, no, Lord Narayan, I have a question from this Brahmana and the cobbler. Said, oh, yes, Narada, what is their question? Said, well, the Brahmana said, when will I come back? Means, when will the Brahmana come back to the spiritual world? And Lord Narayan said, tell the Brahmana that he will 1,000 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes, and then he'll come back to me. And then Narad said, okay, my lord, I'll tell him. But what about the cobbler? The cobbler said, when will he see you? Lord Narayan said, yeah, tell the cobbler that at the end of this life, as soon as he finishes this life, he is going to see me. He's going to come to me. Narad Muni was shocked. Narad Muni said, my dear Lord, this is injustice. That Brahmana, he's doing such serious service to you. He's reciting so much verses, so many things. And you're saying that he's going to take thousands of lifetimes. And this cobbler just at the end of this life, not fair, my Lord. So then Lord Narayan said, don't worry, this is not injustice from my side. But when they ask you, you go and tell them that I gave this response for their answer. And when they ask you what I was doing in Vaikuntha, tell them that I was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. Tell them that. Narad Muni was scratching his head. He said, my lord, how can anyone thread an elephant through the eye of a needle? How is it possible? Then Lord Narayan said, don't worry about it. Just go and tell them this if they ask you what I was doing. So then Narad Muni said, okay, he bid farewell to the Lord. He came back to the Brahmana first. And then the Brahmana said, oh, Narada, you came back from Vaikuntha. What did the Lord say? When will I go back to Godhead? Narad Muni was very dejected. He said, yeah, after 1,000 of lifetimes, then you'll go back. That time the cobbler came. The cobbler came and said, oh, Narad Muni, you came back. What did the Lord say? What is the answer to my question? And then Narad Muni said, well, Lord Narayan said, at the end of this life, you're going back. And the Brahmana got so angry. Oh, Narada, how could you do this? I am the Brahmana. He's a Muchi. He's a cobbler, a Shudra. And he's going to go this life back to Godhead and not me. Injustice, Narada. I don't believe you went to Vaikuntha. Tell me, if you went to Vaikuntha, what was the Lord doing? Brahmana asked. So the Narad Muni said, yeah. Lord Narayan, what he was doing is he had an elephant and he took that elephant and he was threading the elephant through the eye of a needle. The Brahmana had his hand on his head. He said, Are Baba, Narada, you gone mad? How is this possible? You are lying. You're just lying to me. You didn't go to Vaikuntha. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. So then, and the cobbler heard this also. When Narada said, and the cobbler was dancing in ecstasy. He started dancing and Narada said, hey cobbler, are you gone mad? What happened? What happened to you? So then the cobbler was dancing. He said, my Lord Narayan, he is so wonderful. He is so amazing. He's so amazing. Narada said, do you believe that Lord Narayan was threading the elephant through the eye of a needle? You believe that? He said, of course I believe it. He said, how can you believe it? Narada asked. Then said, my dear Narada, if my Lord Narayan is so wonderful that in a tiny seed of a banyan tree, the banyan tree's seeds are so tiny that when that tiny seed is planted, this huge, gigantic banyan trees can come forth from a tiny seed. So what is the difficulty for this Supreme Lord of mine to thread an elephant through the eye of a needle? So Narada could immediately understand that the cobbler never doubted. The cobbler had no doubt on the supremacy of the Lord and the potency of the Lord. But the Brahmana doubted. Therefore, he would need thousands of lifetimes to develop that faith in Lord Narayan.
Can we stop the presentation, please?
But the cobbler, he had that faith. He had no doubt about this. So therefore, this is what we, conclude in this particular chapter, that without any doubt, like that cobbler, we must have, implicit faith. Without any doubt, we must have implicit faith in Lord Krishna, that he is going to protect us no matter what. Ashan mudho is the Sanskrit word. So, yomam evam asham mudho. That without a doubt, we must have faith in Lord Purushottama. It's a Janati Purushottamam, in the Supreme Lord. So with this, we come to the next chapter, chapter 16, which is entitled The Divine and Demoniac Nature.
So chapter 15 described the banyan tree of this material world, the three modes of nature, how they nourish the upper auspicious divine branches of the tree and the lower demoniac branches of the tree. And the extra roots of the banyan trees are compared to the activities of the living entities. Some are auspicious, some are inauspicious. So now we are going deeper into the banyan tree. It describes the upper tree, which is the divine qualities, and how one can take oneself to the lower section of the tree, which is through demoniac qualities. Can we have the slide, please?
So this chapter is broken down into 3 sections. The first section, from text 1 to text 6, is talking about transcendental and divine qualities. That Krishna is first describing the 26 divine qualities that must be possessed by everyone, must at least aspire to possess these divine qualities. And then Krishna mentions the 6 demoniac qualities, that there are 6 demoniac qualities and 26 divine qualities.
And Krishna then in section 2, from verses 7 to 20, he tackles the demoniac nature first. And Krishna, because he wants to assure Arjuna that, look, I'm telling the demoniac nature, do you have any of these qualities? No, you don't. You possess divine qualities. And And then he describes the activities, the mentality, and the quality, the consciousness of those who have demoniac tendency. And then Krishna repeatedly he said, "These mischievous demons, they are cast into demoniac species, abominable species." Then section 3, from verse 21 to 24, Krishna is explaining our choice, how we can escape to the supreme destination. And then he says there are 3 gates that lead to the soul's degradation and entanglement in the demoniac mentality: lust, anger, and greed. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. And every sane man, whoever is really wanting to advance spiritually, must give it up: lust, anger, and greed. And we should act for our own purification, and then we can attain the supreme destination. Instead of acting under the control, we should act according to Shastra, but control this lust, anger, and greed. One time there was a man, he was very much uh, controlled by anger. Can we stop the presentation, please? And there he said, he went to a doctor. He said, I'm having, I cannot control my anger. I don't like it. It is breaking my relationships. What should I do? How do I understand the impact of my anger? And so he said, all right, you see, do you have a backyard? He said, yes. Do you have wooden fence on that backyard? I said, yeah, I do have it. All right. Here are some nails. Whenever you become angry, you just come and you hit a nail in inside the fence. Take a hammer, take the nail, put it on the fence, hit it, and put it inside the fence. Every time you're angry, just do that. And he said, yeah, that's a good remedy. Let me do that. So whenever he would get angry, he would say, okay, time to go and put the nail. And so he went and he put the nails. And then after a few months, he came back. Doctor, now what should I do? Because here, so what's the problem? Is it working? Are you hitting the nail inside the fence? I said, yes, I'm doing that. But my problem is now my fence is full of nails. And now there's no place that I can hit the nail. Now if I get angry, what should I do? He said, all right, okay, that's the problem. It's simple. Next time when you get angry, go and pull the nails out of the fence. Put your energy into pulling these nails outside the fence, out of the fence. I said, oh, that's a good idea. Let me do that. They went there. He went there. When he would get angry, he would go to the fence, select a nail that he has already nailed in. He would pluck it out. Again, he would get angry. Again, he would go pluck it out. And then one time he again panicked and he went to the doctor. Doctor, what should I do now? What happened? I've plucked all the nails out. It's been several months. I punched them in and now I plucked them out. Now what do I do when I get angry? He said, now, when you get angry, go out and inspect those holes and meditate on the fact that you can never fill these holes ever. This is the impact you have on a person's heart when you get angry. Let these holes in your fence remind you of the holes that you have dug into people's hearts by being angry. And this will stop you from actually expressing your anger. And use that energy in trying to improve, trying to control that anger, trying to redirect that anger into positivity. So in this way, we can control our anger. So this anger, when we speak, words are very powerful. Someone may hit us. It doesn't hurt so bad. Or even if it hurts, it's very temporary. But words, they hit Sometimes those nails that we dig in people's hearts, when we take it out, that hole is never vanquished, never healed. So let's be very careful. That's what Krishna is telling in this chapter in Bhagavad Gita. That brings us to the next chapter, chapter
Chapter
17, the
17.
divisions of faith. In chapter 16, how Krishna establishes that his faithful followers of his words, the Shastra, are divine. And those who are faithless, they are demoniac. But where does the man fit who follows with faith on something other than the Shastra? He has faith, but not on the scriptures. Is he in goodness? Is he in passion? Is he in ignorance? Where is he situated in the banyan tree? So 17th chapter, divisions of faith, actually combine 15th and 16th chapter together and tells where this third category of person stays, along with the other first two, the divine and demoniac. What about the one in the middle?
So, next slide, please, the last slide. This chapter has a breakdown of 6 sections. So, from section 1, the section 1, which is from text 1 through text 7, the modes that determine one's faith and one's worship. So, Arjuna is asking about the situation of one who worships, but it's not according to Shastra. What happens to such a person? Arjuna is asking that question. So Krishna responds by saying that one who does not follow Shastra worships according to the faith that is dictated by the 3 modes of material nature, which means they're talking about, direct. Krishna is saying that if you're not following the Shastra, you are just following your senses, which are blunt, which are imperfect, which have no proper, one time they'll say this is good, the other time they'll say this is not good. Like, for example, sugarcane juice tastes very sweet. But if you're afflicted with jaundice, that same sweet sugarcane juice is bitter. That is because of our taste of the tongue, that our tongue is imperfect. So material nature makes us imperfect. So therefore Krishna is saying that one who does not follow the Shastra, their worship is just directed and under the purview of the 3 modes of material nature. So there's a story in this regard which I request Prabhu to please say.
One time there was a place where they were digging mines. They were digging coal. It was a coal mine. And there was this preacher. He went to the coal miners and he told them, if you do not stop your sinful activities, you will go to hell. And these miners were like, hell? What is hell? Said, oh no, how do I explain hell? You know what? Hell is a dark place, very dark. And the coal miners, they looked at each other. Yeah, what's the big deal? When we go inside the coal mine, whole day we are in this dark place. Hell is not that bad. The preacher said, it's very hot. It's very, very warm, hot. I said, so what? When we go to the coal mine, it's very hot. And this preacher was getting frustrated. How do I explain to them? There are lots of insects. Yeah, in the coal mine, we have so many insects rattling around here and there. So what? The hell doesn't seem to be that bad. We'd rather continue our sinful activities. He said, well, in the hell, you're made to do a lot of hard work. Preacher, really? We do the same thing here. I was like, what should I tell them? If all of you continue these bad activities, all of you will go to hell. I said, really? Meaning my friend George will go to hell and John would also be there? That's great. We'll all have a nice time wherever we are. Anyways, hell doesn't seem to be as bad as the coal mine. That's even better. So then he said, in the hell, there are no newspapers. And all of the coal miners looked at each other. No newspapers? That must be a very, very bad place. So people They don't mind all these because they're so accustomed to some of the hellish places. But something like gossip, they cannot live without gossip. And so, if there is no newspapers in hell, depending on their division of faith, they go according to their faith. Depending on their modes of nature, their faith is made accordingly.
I, and I think that now to convince people about hell, how bad hell can be, we have to say that, because nobody reads newspapers now. I think we'll just need to say no smartphones. And then everyone's going to, oh my God, I can live without my wife, but not without my smartphone. Oh, no, I don't like to go to hell. So, anyways, moving on. Section 2 is from text 8 to text 10, where Krishna describes foods which are in the different modes, where, Krishna says that the easiest way to discover a person's situation, that which mode do they actually fit in, is just to see what kind of food are they really attached to. If are they eating food that is too spicy, too pungent, stale food, then stale food, horrible fungus, fungus laden food. It is said that in some countries there's fungus cheese, which is a very, very good delicacy. So you can understand that that is indeed in the mode of ignorance. And, too spicy, too pungent, too sour, too bitter. These are modes of passion. And, so like this, we can judge a person by the food that he eats. Then Krishna says,
Text 11 to 13, these three verses, sacrifices in different modes. Sacrifice in the mode of goodness is out of duty. Then sacrifice in the mode of passion is out of some result, out of some expectation. And sacrifices in the mode of ignorance is unfaithful sacrifice.
and then in the next section, section 4, Krishna talks about austerities in the different modes. That austerities can be of the body, mind, and of the speech. But each of these can be performed in goodness, passion, and ignorance. So how there is speech which is helpful to others, but also very helpful to me. That is in the mode of goodness. It's like, good for you, good for me. A mode of passion is just good for the person who is saying it and may not be so good for the person who is listening to it. And mode of ignorance is neither good for the listener, neither good for the speaker. So that is speech in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Then
text 20 to 22 talks about charity in different modes. How we perform charity in the mode of goodness, charity in the mode of passion, charity in the mode of ignorance, because the results, they differ accordingly. One time there was a drunkard. He came out of a liquor shop full of bottles of liquor, and there he saw a beggar, and he felt compassion on that beggar, and he said, "Tu bhi kya yaad rakhega?" He took out a bottle of liquor from his pocket, and he gave that charity to that beggar. Take this, you'll be happy. And this is charity. But is this charity in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? This charity neither helps the person who is giving the charity, nor does it help the person who's receiving it. So this is charity in the mode of ignorance.
Then Krishna describes in the last section of this chapter, Krishna talks about Om Tat Sat, which, of course, Krishna says that all activities in this material world is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. But these defects can be completely nullified, even if within the modes of nature, if one engages in Krishna's service.
So ultimately, whichever mode we are in, try to engage that propensity in the service of Krishna. Arjuna, for example, he had to be passionate He had to be in the mode of passion to fight. You can't be in the mode of goodness while fighting. If some arrow is coming, you have to be angry to fight. So Arjuna was externally in the mode of passion, but internally he was beyond the three modes because his motivation of his service was to please Krishna. So, whichever mode externally we may have to be to execute our service, that's okay. But what is our motivation? Is our motivation greed or lust? Are we wanting to do this because we want to be famous? Are we wanting to do this because I want more money? Or am I doing this because of love for Krishna? That I want to offer this result to Krishna? Then we are above the three modes, even though externally we look like we are engaging with the three modes. So the conclusion is that when sacrifices, penance, austerity, everything is performed without faith in Krishna, without a transcendental goal, then they are useless in this life and in next life. That's the conclusion of chapter 17 and the conclusion of today's discussion. Thank
So
you very
with
much.
this, we'll end here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Krishna Chaitanya, excuse me. So, first, in our interactive session, now we will follow the same thing that we did in our last session. So, we will have a raise of hands so that we can also give everyone a chance, especially those who have not been our frequent contributors. We request them to please participate, come forward and participate. So please do participate. So our first question of you is, how many of you have done your assignments and would like to share your experience? The assignment that was given is that please share the one verse from the Bhagavad Gita, for example, the last 8 verses from chapter 12, if you would like to share with your neighbors. So, if you have done that, what was your experience when you did that? Anyone would like to share, please?
The eight verses from chapter 12 are telling how we can be dear to Krishna, Priya to Krishna.
Okay. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvat Pranam Mataji. Dhanvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dhanavad.
I read slokas from 13 to 20 Mataji in chapter 12. It was very beautiful, Mataji, to know what are the qualities of a devotee. What should the qualities of devotee must have? How he should not hate others, and how he had to treat the both um, what is it? Both what we are getting in our life. We should treat everything in the same manner. But because I read in Telugu, Mataji,
That's fine. That's fine.
I learned a lot of things from this, Mataji, what we should do and what we should not do when we are in Krishna consciousness, and how we should treat whatever which comes in life, how we should act for that, how we must have balanced life in this. I know, I understood, Mataji, and I shared with my relatives, Mataji, and they told that it is a very difficult situation to control all this. How we have to control? They are asking that. You are telling that all the things are very good, but how we have to do all these things? They are asking, Mataji. I told one thing, Mataji. If we are reading whole Bhagavad Gita from first to last, and we are doing the devotional service in bhakti, if we are in bhakti, then automatically Krishna gives all these qualities to us. I shared in this, Mataji.
Very good.
If anything to add for that question, please tell me, Mataji. I am Mataji.
I think that's a very good way to say. And you can also add that if they can start, just chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that the World Holy Name Week is coming. So, it's from the 17th to the next Thursday is World Holy Name Week, 17th to 24th. So we, if during this time for world peace, we can encourage new people to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then that will also be very, very nice. Actually, chanting helps in the understanding of the Bhagavad Gita also. So you can add that. But wonderful, whatever you have shared is very, very wonderful. Thank you so much, Soumya. We'll take one more for assignments. Anyone would like to share? Or you can even put it down in the chat if anyone wants. Unable to unmute. Uma Mataji.
Yes, if you raise your
If you
hand,
just show a raise of hand, then our organizers will unmute you.
raise of hand on Zoom.
In the chat.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I share?
Yes. Who is this?
I'm Anju.
Yes, Anjuji. Yes, please, please.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam.
Your voice is so sweeter every single day. So it takes me time to, I feel that it's a young girl speaking. So please pardon me. Please continue.
No. Actually, I shared it with my daughter, my middle daughter, and I was reading all the 8 verses of the chapter 12 to her.
Mm-hmm.
And after I finished reading like all the things, she just looked at me and asked me one question. Mama, what is bhakti?
Mm.
And I just said, bhakti is just trust Krishna completely and surrender.
Mm.
And have that bhav that Krishna is yours and I am Krishna's.
Mm.
And this is the thing I can say of bhakti. And then you need to read full Bhagavad Gita with under a spiritual teacher, because I'm still not capable to make you understand. And just right now I can just say that it is complete surrender with your whole heart, mind, body, intellect, everything, and your Atma is Paramatma. So she just looked at me and she said, like, the small child will look at you, so she's not that big. And then she said, okay. And I said, just say Maha Mantra with me, and this will lead you to the path of the thing. And then we chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare. Hari Bol. That's wonderful, Anjuji. Thank you. Thank you. So, Jai Shri Radhe. Can we please unmute Shampriya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. So I shared this to 3 people, and I shared all 3 differently because they asked me different ways. So one Mataji was telling me that I don't have deities in my house. So how can, if I bring deities in my house, how can I do the worship? Do I have to do everything, offer them? So I'm like, you just have the desire to bring the deities in your house, just bring the deities, and when Krishna and Radha will come to your house, everything will become automatically. You will get so much of blessings from them, so much of mercy from them, that you will be able to do everything. And then how you said about the chanting, I shared that instead of gossiping, or especially in this week, instead of gossiping or calling your mother or father or whatsoever, just think that, okay, you're working, then just say, I don't have time while I'm working. So you can at least chant during working, and instead of gossiping, try to hear the Chora Ashtakam and the Jagannath Ashtakam. So that will also even benefit you, even if you are hearing, if you don't have time to recite or something, but just hear it. And then even I told that you can ask mercy from Tulsi Maharani. She's a big devotee of Radha Krishna, so she will really help us to go in progress in a spiritual world. And then I told her the story about if you need something in spiritual, like supposing you have something in your fist, you have a ball you're holding in your hand, and then if you want to hold something else in the same hand, you have to let go the ball, then only you can hold it. Same thing is it with the material desire, like you have to let go your material desire. And like she's like, I cannot get up early in the morning because on weekends I see movies. So how would that help? So I told her that you have to, instead of seeing the movie, you listen to the katha, there are so many Zoom calls. So you can listen to that. So slowly by slowly, you will come, but let go your material desire, then only you will be able to come into your spiritual desire. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. May we please unmute Uma Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranams to
Dandavad.
both of you.
Hare Krishna.
I had shared the story that you had mentioned about text 9.22, the Vahamyaham
Yes.
and X'd out. And
Yes.
I don't know why, but as I was trying to explain it to my mother, I started crying. I got too emotional just by saying that Krishna himself came and he took the cross on himself
Yeah.
to say how he carries what we lack.
Yes.
So even the lacking of that understanding, he took it on himself to prove that what he's written is right and or
Yes.
what he has said is right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And never to doubt any word of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And that I was totally moved by it, I guess. So when I was talking about it, I was sharing it, I got too emotional.
Haribol. Haribol. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Very, very beautiful, heartfelt sharing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So thank you all so much for sharing. We thank everyone for the personal messages that they sent to us. Thank you. So now for the interactive session, that what is the one thing that you liked in today's session? Please write it down in the chat, and you may please choose to send it to everyone so that everyone can see. So please, send a chat. Oh, I've been muted. Okay. So football. Okay. And the anger story. Okay. From Padmalochini Mataji, the anger story. Rajeshwari Mataji, the football story. Anyone would like to come and speak here? We can please raise your hand and we can unmute them.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
This is Kirti. What I learned in today's session is I really like the stories. Example, the cobbler story of Narada Muni in that story, and also the watermelon story. And I just what I learned today was every single day everybody's saying stories, but today I learned that these stories really matter to our lives. Like the story that I really liked was the heart story that Prabhu said. It just meant a lot to me, and I will use that story in my life when I'm going forward.
Wow, thank you, Beta. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you. So we have coconut story, football story, watermelon story from Rasmita Mataji, from Ramya Mataji, cobbler story, how much we have to believe the Lord, story of the elephant who was attached, coconut analogy, Anju Agarwalji, thank you. And the power of habit from Meena Mataji, yes. From Varshana Chitra Mataji, the Brahman and cobbler story and how to control anger, about faith and knowledge from Shampriya Mataji. Anyone else would like to come and share here?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Who is this? Hare Krishna.
I'm Tulsi.
Who is this?
Tulsi.
Tulsi. Yes, Tulsi.
I have a question.
Yes, you have a question. Yes.
I listened that in the anger story that the cobbler that person came and said every day and what I do I broke them what I do I have anger in my eye.
So you like that story?
Yeah, and he came 10 times, 40 times, and he was saying, I brought my all 10 times.
Wow. How young are you, Tulsi?
4.
You are amazing. You are amazing.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bacha. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Next one.
Garima.
Yes, Garima, we were missing you.
And then that's you talked about the tree and the water. So there's a tree and a water, and the tree reflecting on the water. So people think that if we go there, we'll have tasty fruits. But when you go there, there's no tasty fruits. So that's happiness and distress.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are really amazing. I mean, Tulasi, Garima, you caught on to these important points. Hats off to you.
So where will you find tasty fruits? Real tasty fruits.
In Goloka.
Arriba! So our speaking here has achieved its purpose. Thank you, Bacha. Thank you very much. Haribol. Okay, so now to the next part of the question. Second question.
So the second question is, please tell us how you overcame a mode of nature, like a mode that was possibly influencing you. Maybe sometimes we become lazy. How did you come out of that laziness? Sometimes you become angry. How did you control your anger? How did you make sure that you did not allow these modes to overpower you?
So how did we basically is there a situation that we chose to act in a different way, not being influenced by the modes? So you may please write down your answers in the comments or please share.
We are muted.
Thank you. Okay, so anyone would like to share, please?
Haribol, can I share?
Yes, of course.
Actually, I would like to give others a chance. I think I am speaking too much.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I had learned that the Mahamantra, like, Hare Krishna, it really helps. And secondly, never react at that time. If you're like used to get angry, instantly we used to talk and we used to react. And it taught me, like, after reading Bhagavad Gita, just keep quiet, think, and just chant Mahamantra and wait for some time before you react. And it really helped me. And after some time, like, when 1 hour passed or something like that, I used to say, what's the use of just leave it to Krishna. He will just pray for that person. Krishna, please just forgive me and forgive that person also, and just bless both of us. It really helped, because then I was seeing the fault inside me.
Yes,
I said, no, it like once you're like, it is tali khat se nahi bajti. So there must be something, it must have irritated that person or something that had triggered them. So it's much better. You keep it's much better. I need more patience and I need more thing. And I started looking inwards.
Wonderful.
And it was, and started I need to practice more of Bhagavad Gita teachings instead of just reading them. And I need to correct myself. And then slowly, just this really helped. And then chanting of Mahamantra, as you have said, full day along, is just become mechanical also. You're bathing, you are cooking, you're doing anything, and it is just going in your head. And this really helps.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anjuji. We request the devotees who have sent beautiful comments in the chat. Garima, we know you are showing your hand, but we will definitely come to you. But before that, Santoshi Kumari Mataji, would you like to please share?
Live on the screen. You shared while writing.
or Neetuji, Neetu Mataji.
Can't able to unmute. If
Oh,
you press
can you
on
please-
hand raise on Zoom, then you would be unmuted. If you raise hand on Zoom, meaning just click on the hand raise, then you would be unmuted.
So who? Hare Krishna. Yes.
Dandit Pranam. I'm from Odisha and I'm living in Chennai. Since 1 year, I started my Krishna consciousness through some of my friends. Here also, my friend is there, Meena and Rajeshwari. Actually, by controlling the angers, and it was like so much in material life, it is very, very difficult to control our angers. But still, after coming to the Krishna consciousness, it is so much changes happened in my life. It is after chanting and associating with the devotees, that is very, very important. They are really amazing. So it is in my life, there is so many changes happened because of my devotee friends. Because of them only, I changed myself.
Wonderful.
And chant is very, very important.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. Anybody else, who have written the comments? Neetu Mataji or Rajeshwari Mataji? So we have some. Rajeshwari Mataji has raised her hand. Ramya Mataji. Can we have Ramya Mataji, please?
Hello.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Today's class is very, very nice. 15th chapter, I like that 15th chapter a lot than other chapters in Bhagavad Gita. And my sister, Lalitangi sister, first taught me the 15th chapter, 15th sloka. So I taught that sloka to my son.
Yes.
He's too young to understand the meaning of that sloka.
Yes.
So I used to teach all the slokas to him. And I had one doubt.
Yes.
What is the difference between satsanga and sadhu sangha? And one more thing, yesterday you in the group you have sent the home function program. And what does it?
What does it? What?
What it means?
Oh, we had a special session yesterday where we talked about the coming Purushottam month. So, it's just talking about these home visits that we can do over Zoom. You can reserve a slot in the calendar link that has been given, and then you can reserve a slot, and with your own family and everyone, you can we'll give you a unique Zoom ID, and that you can share with your friends and family and invite them virtually to your home, and we will also come virtually to your home, and we can do a small katha of Purushottam month in your home. That's what it is.
Okay. And please explain me what is sadhu sangha and satsanga. I'm much confused.
Very nice question. Sangha means association, and Sat Sangha means association of Sat. Sat means absolute truth, something which is eternal, which is absolute truth. So association of people who are going towards absolute truth is Satsanga. Sadhu Sangha is also same as Satsanga, but association of a sadhu. Sadhu, it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that Titikshava Karunika Suridam Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Shadbhir Sadhu Bhushanam. What are the 6 qualities of a sadhu? Someone, if we have to identify who's a sadhu, he needs to be Titikshava, means very, very tolerant. Karunika, compassionate. Suridam Sarvadehinam, well-wisher of everyone. Ajata Shatrava, he does not have any enemies. Although others may consider him as enemy, he does not consider anyone as enemy. Ajat Shatrava Shanta is very peaceful. And these are these ornaments of a sadhu. So sadhu sangha means association of someone who has these qualities. But anyone who is in association of Sat or the absolute truth also has these qualities, because these are the qualities of the Lord. And so, in essence, Satsanga and Sadhu Sangha are the same for all practical purposes. But if you want to know specific difference, then technically that's the difference.
So we hope that that answers your question. Thank you very much. Okay, so Rajeshwari Mataji, you had a hand raised. Well, if you can please come back till we take Garima. We'll take Garima one time. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji gave me now an opportunity, Mataji.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita on the streets. Some people would say that we don't want, why you are selling like this. They used to talk hard words towards me, and I learned from that. What is that? We must be like a grass. I always keep it in mind, that grass, and I used to sell the books in the streets, Mataji.
Wonderful.
That is very. And one more thing is that when I used to, for simple reasons also, I used to cry, Mataji, always. Why it's happening to me? Like I used to cry like that. But after coming to Krishna conscious, I stopped everything. I just pray before Krishna, whatever, this is the situation, please help me. That's it. I will forget about the problem.
Wonderful.
It will be solved. And one more experience is that when you came to India, you told me that you will come to my house, and it was already too late. It was 10:30. Almost everyone is sleeping at that time. I thought you will not come. But I just went to my puja room and I am talking to Krishna. Krishna, I did service. Is it not enough, or is it not with full perfect heart I did not do? Why a perfect devotee is not entering into my house? What is the problem with me? I asked Krishna. I prayed and just I put off the lights in every room. Just Keshri Mataji called that you are coming. Called and said that you are coming to my house. I was in full joy and playing like anything. They are coming. They are coming. Krishna had heard me when I'm talking to him. So this was the wonderful experience, Mataji, and I still from wholeheartedly I believe Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
He will listen to everyone's heart. He will listen, and even a small desire also he will fulfill if it is good for us. I believe in that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you very much. We have a new contributor, Shankar Bhattacharya. Could we unmute him, please? Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I think you are unmuted. If you'd like to speak, your hand was raised.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat.
Dandavat Pranam.
Actually, I want to ask how to memorize the sloka. This is very much a problem to me. So much sloka, and I am just when I am chanting, I am very much confusing how to memorize the sloka. Can you please enlighten me?
Very wonderful question. Thank you, Prabhu.
In one of the sessions, I think one of the previous sessions, we had shared a tip. When I was in the Brahmachari ashram in Chowpatty, Mumbai, we were told a technique. And what they said is there are 4 lines in a shloka. So you read the first line 5 times, then you read the second line 5 times, just keep repeating, and then you read the first 2 lines together 5 times. Then you read the third line 5 times, you read the fourth line 5 times, and then you read the third and fourth together 5 times. Then after that, read all the 4 lines together 5 times. By the end of it, your mind and tongue coordination will automatically happen. and then try to understand the meaning of the verse. If you do these things, this should take you not more than 15 to 20 minutes. And in 15 minutes, you can memorize a shloka by doing this five times each, and then understand the meaning of each and every word that you are speaking. And then you'll be able, if you can put for each verse this much time, you'll be able to memorize very quickly.
Do we hope that answers your question? Yes, Ramya, Purushottam, this 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the Purushottam Yoga. It's called the Purushottam Yoga. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Guru Jai Mataji, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, now we have Garima. She's waiting for a very long time. So, Garima, yes. Hare Krishna, Garima.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was saying that when my mommy wakes me up, I'm so lazy, I don't want to wake up. But when she tells me that she's going to chant with me, I chant with her, and we play my Guru Maharaj chanting, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and we chant in the morning. And I wanted to tell you that I had a desire to go to a Jain to see my Guru Maharaj. So Krishna fulfilled my desire.
Oh.
And we went for 2 months.
Wow. And you had such wonderful interactions with him.
Every 4 or 5 days we met him.
Wonderful. And he loves you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Beta. You're very special. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Kirti. Lovely to see you, Beta.
I have a question, Mataji.
Yes, Beta.
So, every single morning, I have like school and everything, so I gotta wake up and everything, and I do my rounds in the afternoon. And in the Vedas it says it's important to wake up at 4 o'clock for Mangalarti. So I have I have school the other day, so how can I wake up at 4:30 in the morning? Is it okay if I don't wake up 4:30 and do my rounds? I might have a lot of schoolwork and all that, but will Krishna be okay if I don't wake up at 4:30 and do my rounds, Mataji?
Krishna is seeing your intention. Okay? So if not 4:30, you can at least try waking up 5 o'clock. That's not too difficult. Yeah? Just try baby steps. If say, for example, now you're getting up at 6, so then you can just do 30 minutes before. It's not too much of a stretch. So you just try to wake up at 5:30, do just one round, get ready for your school, try that, and take baby steps of just going 15 minutes before. And then as kids, the body definitely needs at least 7 hours of sleep. For little kids like you should give your body good rest. 7 hours is good enough. So as long as you're doing that 7 hours of sleep, you're good to go. So Krishna is accepting. Always remember that Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He accepts the mood with which you are doing your seva. So if you're, sometimes if you're staying up late studying and you're not able to wake up in the morning, it's okay. Krishna understands. But you must have the desire that, yes, you should know that, okay, I need to get up at 4:30. And the days that you do sleep early, try to get up at 4:30. And show to Krishna that you are sincere in that. That's what Krishna is saying. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you so much, Beta.
Right, Ramya.
Ramya Mataji.
Mataji, she said something.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I'm following the method to teach shlokas to my son the way you said. It's working out. He's much interested in learning Gita shlokas. As of now, he knows 20 important verses from all the chapters. He's
Wow.
5 years old. Hari Bol. Congratulations.
Okay.
How to pronounce the shloka properly sometimes feels little difficult to pronounce the words. For this, we are trying to do this project for all of you, that chapter wise, we will be sending out audios, links of the audios of all the important verses in that particular chapter. So we will recite that and we will share it in the WhatsApp group so you can listen to it. You can listen to it all the time. So that way it will be helpful to you. Yes, Soumya, you had a request. If you may please unmute, Soumya.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, actually we are in group, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Mataji. Now we have completed first chapter, all the slokas with translation we completed, Mataji.
Wonderful.
Now we are going to start second chapter, Mataji.
Wonderful.
In Gita Mahatyam, I already started with the story. I started the first chapter, Mataji. We started. Now I want to know the second chapter story. Before starting to encourage the participants, I want to share a story before second chapter also, Mataji.
Okay.
Can you please tell me the stories also, or else you tell me where I can get, I will read, Mataji.
What I will do is, what we are planning to do is that we are going to send the Gita Mahatmya stories of each chapter, the link as a PDF, we will send that in the group also. So you can, get that as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Soumya.
Shankar Bhattacharya.
Have a
Another
question?
Yes, you're unmuted now. Yes, go ahead, Shankarji. Shankar Da.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, I want to ask you a question. When is the next session will be? Actually, I need to again attend the session.
It's
I
this.
feel so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The session, you are in India, you said, right?
Yes.
So India, every day, it is at 6 o'clock in the morning, every day.
6 a.m.
When it will again start? After this session?
Tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock.
After this session?
Meaning after this 9 days session is over, then
Exactly,
are we doing
after
another
9
9 day? Are you asking that are we doing another 9-day course or a different course like this?
Exactly, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So yes, right now for the next 30 days, starting September 17th, we are having Purushottam month. So we will be every evening, every morning, same time, 6 a.m. India time, and evening 7:30 US time, we will be doing a virtual parikrama of the holy dham. But if you and then after 30 days or something like that, we will have a course on Upadeshamrita, another wonderful section, so which will start from October 17th. So on October 17th onwards, you can again join, but you can also join, every day, and from September 17th. Also, these sessions have been recorded on YouTube and Facebook Live. So if you go to our page, YouTube page, Advaita Kala Sudha, then if you just type Advaita Kala Sudha, you'll see all these sessions that have been recorded, and on YouTube as well as on Facebook. If you search for Advaita Kala Sudha ISKCON, then you will see our web page where all these videos have been uploaded. So you can go back and listen to all the sessions again and again.
So are you part of the WhatsApp group, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're part of the WhatsApp group, you will be receiving the updates as we go along.
Yes, yes, that's a good option. I should try the YouTube.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Shilpi Mataji has a request. One day we can do a session how to do step-by-step arti at home in the altar as a beginner in Krishna consciousness. For sure, we'll definitely try to do that. Anjuji, sorry, Garima. This is Garima's mom. Sorry. I'm not able to understand Kal when Krishna is saying that I am Kala. Can I please request you to explain?
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravriddho. I am time, Kala asmi, destroyer of the worlds. So Prabhupada explains that Kal means death. So time, basically what time does is every moment each cell in our body is being destroyed. Every moment there is destruction taking place. That is time. If we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will come and take us in his arms. But if we don't surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will still come, but in the form of death, in the form of Kala. And Prabhupada explains the example of a cat. In the cat's mouth, you can have a mouse, and for that mouse, the cat's mouth is like Kala, death. But for the kitten, how does a cat carry its own kitten? With its same mouth. For that kitten, that same mouth is the loving arms of the mother, is the epitome of love, is the abode of love, that same mouth. But that same mouth for the mouse is the abode of death. So it's our choice to reciprocate with Krishna. Those who don't surrender to Krishna, for them Krishna comes. Krishna appears as death. But if we surrender to Krishna, he appears as the most loving shelter. So this is what is the meaning of Krishna is the Kala, is basically death. And if we, this is also another way of remembering Krishna. Kala means time, that we must conserve. Devotee says, avyartha kalatvam, one of the qualities of a devotee in the nectar of devotion is that he never wastes his time. Why? Because time is Krishna. So we don't want to waste Krishna. We want to use all the time in the service of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, he would, even little bit anyone would waste time, he would feel that you can, if you lose millions of dollars, you can get back millions of dollars again. But if you lose 1 second of time, we will never be able to get that 1 second time ever.
Back.
Because that, and so we must consider time as Krishna and not waste Krishna's energy like that. So these are different ways in which we can understand Kala, time, as Krishna.
So we hope that answers your question, Mataji. We have a question from Priya Mataji, that what are the 26 qualities, divine qualities, and the 6 demoniac qualities? This is in chapter 16, which is entitled Divine and Demoniac Natures. The first 3 verses, text 1 to 3, describes the 26 qualities of divinity, of a divine person, and text 4 describes the 6 qualities of the demoniac people. So Krishna says, the first 3 verses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men who are endowed with divine nature. Text 4
In
says,
fact, here Srila Prabhupada one time mentioned that humility means to not be eager to be respected, which means not to have the passion for honor. This is one of the divine qualities, is humility.
and text 4 says, what are the 6 demoniac qualities, which is pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, Krishna says. So, Shampriya Mataji, we can unmute everyone for now. So, Shampriya Mataji is asking, do we have to have all these qualities to go back home, back to Godhead?
Well, there is, out of the 26 qualities of a devotee, this is from Bhagavad Gita, but there is other of a Vaishnava. One of the main qualities, there are some primary qualities and there are some secondary qualities which come out of the primary qualities. And the main primary quality of a devotee that will take him back to Godhead is Krishnaika Sharanam. Krishnaika Sharanam is one of the 26 Vaishnava qualities, which means exclusive shelter and dependence on Krishna. If we can cultivate that, all the other qualities will come automatically. All the other qualities, even if someone externally does not exhibit, Krishna will still take us back home, back to Godhead. But that dependence on Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna, is the primary quality. Then even humility will make sense. Fearlessness will make sense. But if we don't take shelter of Krishna, then humility, fearlessness, all of these without that one primary quality of Krishnaika Sharanam does not make any, is useless in one sense. So yes, let's try to develop that dependence on Krishna, helpless dependence on Krishna, understanding that we are not the controllers and Krishna can control, and we let him control however he wants to, and we just depend on him.
So Prabhuji, like how you even said, like in the chapter 15, the text 15, you said that Krishna says that he is the knowledge, the remembrance, and the forgiveness. So that comes
Forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness, sorry. Yeah. So that comes from him. Then why is he not giving that knowledge to everybody, so then we can remember him and we can get the forgetfulness? So why is he not in the knowledge to everybody?
Because that would be interfering with the free will of the living entity. You see, every living entity has that minute free will. I mean, if Krishna wants, this is one thing that even Gandhari said to Krishna, that if you wanted, you could have stopped the Kurukshetra war. You could have done that. Then Krishna said, even I could have stopped even these insults. Then what is the, if I am God, then I can control everything. Yes, of course. But Krishna never interferes with the free will of the living entity. It is based on their desire that Krishna approves. He has to approve that.
Yeah, and Krishna says, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, one who remember me constantly and who is endeavoring to remember me, to them he will give that remembrance of Krishna.
Yes.
If we really want to remember Krishna, he will give. But we have to convince Krishna we really want to remember you, because too many times we have disappointed him. So in so many lifetimes. So he is really seeing, are you really eager? If you are, I will give you, but you have to pay the price. The price is eagerness. You have to really want it. And Krishna gives different tests to make us sometimes really want it. And so, yeah, and when we really, really want it, Krishna will give the remembrance. Right now, we want forgetfulness because we want to enjoy separate from Krishna. So Krishna gives that forgetfulness. But when we say, Krishna, I want to remember you, I'm showing by my action, even though I'm not able to be successful, but still I'm trying to do as best as I can. Then Krishna, when he's convinced, he'll give the remembrance. Just be patient.
Yeah. So hope this answers your question, Mataji. We have a question from Shilpi Mataji.
Garima Mataji, sorry, She said,
Mataji.
is time and Kal is the same thing? Yes, it is the same thing.
So, Shilpi Mataji is saying, one more request. Please tell us a bit more about the home program in Damodar month. If we book a slot for the home program, what we need to arrange or set. Well, the Kartik month, Damodar month is coming in, when is it? October, towards the end of October. I don't remember.
25th or
Yeah,
26th.
yeah, around that time. I don't remember the exact dates, but it's later on. But first, we are now doing home programs um, for Purushottam month, which is coming up. So for when you book for the Purushottam month, when you reserve your time slot, all you have to do is invite some friends, over Zoom only. Don't have to invite anyone personally to your home, but you just invite everyone over Zoom, and then you can just set up a small altar, with Radha Madhava, or if you have already your altar in front of your altar, we can just do a small program. There's no other setup that is needed. It is all virtual, so it's as simple as that. There's no prerequisites, nothing. And some devotees have asked that if they don't have much friends, will we come just for them? Yes, we will come just for you. So no problem at all.
But as much as possible, take benefit of this month by sharing this with as many friends or relatives as you want. We are happy to come just for your family, but then you would benefit if you make the effort to invite some more friends and family, and we can speak to them based on their level.
If they're completely new,
Yes.
we can completely channelize and say something very new, which they'll be very comfortable to understand. So, but this will be, this program, Prabhu says it's a very beautiful tagline Prabhu has come up with. It's called Blessings in a Lamp. So everyone wants blessings. Who doesn't want blessings? So please try that. Santoshi Kumari Mataji. Oh, you were talking about Purushottam month. Okay, Shilpi Mataji, thank you. Santoshi Kumari Mataji, how can we analyze which time is wasting hours? Like sometimes spending a lot of time to finish some office work where the mind will be there on to complete the chanting, on reading, but time passes with work. What can I think that time, whether I waste time?
Well, if we are offering the results of our work to Krishna, and we are offering the work itself while we are working, we say, Krishna, I'm doing this for my maintenance. Please accept this. And as much time as you get, if you get 30 minutes, you chant or you read. If you get 1 hour out of 24 hours, you may work maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, you may work. Even if you work that much, if you get whatever time you get to chant, if you give that much to Krishna, Krishna will expand that more and more. He'll give you more and more opportunities. So if we get only 1 hour a day to do something Krishna conscious, let's use that 1 hour a day. Let's be grateful for what we are given rather than lamenting for 23 hours wasting, I get only 1 hour. No, be grateful for that 1 hour. Use that 1 hour in Krishna's service. When we do that, Krishna will be pleased. He will somehow, Krishna is time, Kalosmi. He can expand that 1 hour into 2 hours, and then 1 hour into 10 hours, and he will make some arrangement. If you are sincere, he will make arrangement so that you'll be able to give more and more time to Krishna. But whatever time we get, Radha Govinda Maharaj, I asked him this question about, I believe, 18 years ago. He had come for our home program, and I asked Radha Govinda Maharaj, same thing. Maharaj, we work and so much time goes in commute and working. So he said, whatever time you get, you use it in Krishna's service. Try that. Then Krishna will expand. When he sees that whatever you are being given, you are using it properly, then he will give more and more and more. But if he's saying, I'm giving you 1 hour, but you are not even using that 1 hour in my service, and you're wasting that 1 hour in lamenting that I don't have enough time, then Krishna will say, all right, I'll wait till you come to that level where you're at least utilizing that 1 hour that I'm giving you. then I will give you 2 hours, then I'll give you more, and I'll give you more. So let's practice gratefulness. Let's be thankful for what Krishna has given us as a gift. If we practice that, Krishna will be pleased. He will give more and more and more.
Haribo, that's such a wonderful answer, Prabhu. And Anjuji, we love your comments. Thank you. Thank you so much for your beautifully encouraging comments, and with so much of faith you speak. It really is very, very touching. So if there's no more questions, we can end our session here. Tomorrow we will be doing our last day session on the Gita Rahasya. So we look forward to all of your association and lot of realization sharing. So please do join us tomorrow, and please spread the word around. Tomorrow is the last day, so please let's have as many participants as we can and make this a huge successful program. So with your permission, we will end the session today. Thank you all so much.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrind ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande. Hari Bol. Yes, we will be sharing our journey tomorrow.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Boli.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much.